So in recent days, we've been talking about New Brunswick and Maritime hockey heroes, and this guy drew a lot of discussion because if half the stories that have been told about him are true, this guy should have a movie by himself. He allegedly took on the whole Boston Bruins team in the famous Pat Quinn elbow to the face incident, and if I'm not mistaken, he holds a single game playoff record for penalty minutes with 38. I have to research that, but it sounds pretty kosher. So today we're going to talk about the very, very, very rugged Forbes Kennedy. Now, Forbes Kennedy, born August 18, 1935, played in 603 career NHL Hockey League games, notching 70 goals and 108 assists for 178 points and 888 penalty minutes. Now, he led the loop in penalty minutes during the 69 season. Now, there was some question as to the particulars of where he was born. One source tells me he was born in the walls of Dorchester Prison. Other people said he was born at the local medical center. Not for me to say, it wasn't around in 1935. But his hard-scrapple life can be drawn upon the fact, if you know what Dorchester is, that's the prison capital of New Brunswick for a lot of years, where some of the toughest toughs would serve time there for murder and other crimes. Donald Marshall served time there as well. Our very famous innocent Aboriginal gentleman that was put in there for a murder he didn't commit. Now, from there, his family raised him in PEI, and despite his small frame, he was often the toughest and usually the grittiest player on the ice. As a result, he was a tremendous fan favorite during the earliest days of the Flyers and was sorely missed after his trade in '69. He was kind of the link to the second wave of the Broad Street Bullies. He was the kind of part of the original wave, as we say. Now, he first came to major prominence in the Montreal Junior Canadiens program, where he put up okay numbers over 2 years. His first season, 38 points in 34 games. Second season, with the Junior Habs, he had 21 points. Now, at 56, he only played 3 games in the QHL, but by 1957, in his rookie season, he made the Blackhawks with 21 points in 57 games. He then moved on to Detroit for 2 seasons, where he again put up okay numbers, but the second season Detroit was not the greatest offensive year for him. Only 1 goal in 67 games. Now, in 1960, he split time with Edmonton of the WHL, Hershey of the AHL, and Detroit, of course. He had 51 games in the minors with 30 points and 3 points in 17 games with the Red Wings. His penalty minute totals didn't really rise until he ended up in the minors in '61. In Spokane, the WHL, he had 61 points, including 23 goals and 165 minutes in penalties. Edmonton in '62, he started the year, 54 points in 58 games, and with 14 games with Detroit, he had 1 goal. '63 again to the Flyers, 22 points in 23 games, and then he got a permanent spot for the next 4 seasons with the Bruins. His best campaign was his first with 30 points in 49 games. So remember this, he was a long-time Bruin, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what happened. Now, he basically moved on to different assignments in the NHL. He had played with the original San Francisco Seals of the WHL for parts of 2 seasons, and eventually, when expansion happened, a lot of people thought that he would stay with the Seals, but he went over to the Flyers. Now, in 67 and 68 and 69, he was technically the Flyers' main enforcer. In 69, he put up 195 minutes in penalties. Now, Toronto picked him up for the playoff run, and this is where the greatest Forbes Kennedy legend happened. Now, in the midst of the game where Toronto lost the game 10-1, his teammate Pat Quinn marked Bobby Orr for a hit. And when he hit Bobby Orr, he hit him a little bit too high. He hit him with the elbow to the face. Orr hit the ice. He was knocked out. Now, the Boston players were incensed, including goalie Jerry Cheevers, and Kennedy decided to respond to the incident by protecting his fellow players and taking part in 4 separate fights before punching a linesman and getting ejected from the game. And if you look at the videotape, because of the way the Boston Garden was situated, some of the fans were hit him over the glass, right some cold cock shots in the face. Now, he eventually got 38 minutes in penalties, which equates probably to 2 misconducts, 2 majors, and 4 minors in a contest, and also a lengthy suspension. And his tenure in the NHL and with the Maple Leafs concluded. Now, we still don't know the length of the suspension because he never played again. Now, some people say it was very similar to what happened to Gordie Dwyer, where Gordie had touched a linesman in a preseason game. Gordie got 23 games. I would suspect it would be in that range. It would have been the longest suspension in NHL history because the Pat Quinn hit was considered somewhat legal. But what Forbes got involved with, you can't fight 4 different people in a game without suspension. Now, after he finished his playing career, he went on the next season to play a little bit with the Omaha Knights and the Buffalo Bisons in the playoffs in the regular season, and he eventually turned into a coaching career. Now, according to my good friend Kendall Giberson, he was somewhat, colorful behind the bench, not as bad as John Brophy or Tortorella, but still pretty intense. Now, he started his coaching career with the Cape Breton Metros of the Maritime Junior A Hockey League in their first year of existence in 69-70, then coached the Halifax Junior Canadians in 71. He was then brought in to coach the Summerside Crystals of the PEI Junior League in 71-72 and 72-73 before leaving for the LA Sharks of the WHA to try to resume his playing career. Because that didn't work out due to injuries, he ended his playing career and went back to coaching with the Winston-Salem Polar Twins of the Southern Hockey League. Kennedy returned home a few years later to PEI and coached junior hockey for a number of campaigns, especially for the Charlottetown Eagles and the Charlottetown Abbeys of MJHL. And the 99 season was tremendous for Charlottetown, a 41-5-2 record that year, probably one of the best record for a Charlottetown-based junior team in the history of the community. Now, on January 16, 2012, Kennedy was honored by the Summerside Western Capitals of the Maritime Junior Hockey League with a Forbes Kennedy night, as he was presented with a plaque in recognition of his service to a team that he had coached again from 2004 and 2007. Now, November 24, 2019, at the Hornburg Theater of the Confederation Center for the Arts in Charlottetown, Kennedy joined PEI Symphony Orchestra music director Mark Shapiro to lead the orchestra and a concert audience in the singing of O Canada. So a man with many lives in hockey, and the whole story of Forbes Kennedy again would start a movie, because you could probably do just like the Brian Spencer film, do some background and do some post incident. But if anybody remembers that game, Buffalo Toronto, it basically, I don't know if it weakened the Bruins into the second round when he had to play against Montreal, but it took a lot out of the Bruins. And even though they won cups in 70 and 72, a lot of people believed that they were distracted in that series against Toronto, because with Bobby Orr getting injured, maybe it was a precursor to the fact that they weren't there yet. So I don't know if it helped or hurt them, but it wasn't Forbes Kennedy that laid the hit. But like I said, he didn't start the fight, but he pretty well finished it. You fight 4 people, you're finishing it, so no matter what anybody says. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. That's the legend of Forbes Kennedy. Have a great week, and don't forget, keep your stick in the ice. Bye.